Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a Warhammer 40,000 theory video, and if you've seen the title, it's going to be a bit of a doozy. So, if you remember back to my last theory video where I talked about the Legion of the Damned, I came to the conclusion that they were probably Imperial demons. And that spawns the question, if they're demons, who's the Chaos God that created them? I don't know, the Emperor? So that's the question we're going to be answering today. Is the Emperor actually a Chaos God? But this is a monstrous question. This is a groundbreaking question. And so I didn't feel comfortable taking it on alone, so I went and got some help. And the help I managed to enlist, I don't know how I did this. I guess somebody somewhere was being very nice to me. I've managed to get Remleiz on from 40k Theories, and I don't know how, but he's here.
Hello everyone.
Thank you very much for coming on, buddy. I can't believe you're actually here. So, if anybody has not gone and subscribed to 40k Theories, well, one, what in the warp have you been doing? So there'll be a link in the description. Go and subscribe because it's really worth your time. There's a really, really good lore there, and there's far more theory, in-depth stuff than I could ever hope to do because, well, I don't have time. I don't have a life, but I still don't have time. So go do that if you haven't done so already. Right. Time to tackle the biggest question in probably the entirety of Warhammer 40,000. Besides, is Guilliman actually a heretic? Actually, no, that would be Johnson, not Guilliman. Never mind. Anyway. So.
Yes.
I think we should probably just set our stall out early. Is the Emperor a Chaos God?
Well, if he's not one right now, he's on his way to becoming, if not a Chaos God, at least a god of some kind. Because of the fact that within the warp, all thoughts and emotions are amplified and essentially given form.
Yeah.
And the way the warp works in 40k is almost identical as it does in Warhammer Fantasy. And basically, if you do enough actions of a certain type or believe in something strongly enough with your emotions, it'll start generating a being within the warp. Now, this could be either a minor chaos god, a very strong demon, or actually, in turn, create a full-blown god. The most well-known example in 40k was the birth of Slanesh, who was...
Just say, try and keep the language to a minimum. I don't like swearing on this channel. Just before you say, I knew what you were about to say, so I'll stop you there. But, yes.
Who was birthed due to the hedonistic tendencies of the Eldar race, which in turn damned them.
Yeah, so if you want to see exactly what Remleiz was going to say, go and watch, probably it was episode 16 through 19 of Text-to-Speech. You'll know exactly what we're on about. Anyway, so yeah, the warp shenanigans. But the question I have to ask about that, though, is do the reflections of the populace, i.e. the Imperium, do they create a new being, or do they amplify the Emperor's soul imprint? Because it may be that a whole god is being created, but it's not the Emperor.
Well, the thing is with that, this leads into the Starchild Theory. When the Emperor battled Horus, there's a theory that part of his soul was actually separated from his body, in essence being the good-natured part of him, which he had to sacrifice in order to kill his most beloved son.
Yeah, I follow that.
And in turn, with this, basically this piece of the Emperor's soul now drifting across in the warp, with now the widespread adoption of the Imperial cult, because ever since the Emperor ascended to the Golden Throne, he was basically seen as a symbol of humanity, a beacon of hope.
Yep. And
before then, they had the slowly growing
heretics of Lorgar and the Word Bearers creating their own Imperial creed, which then became Electitio Divinitatis, which was adopted by the wider populace. Oh, we're having issues again. Oh, hang on a minute. Folks, we seem to be having technical issues here. My internet's going to crap, so I'm just going to stop the recording here, and if I can get it fixed, I'll get back to you. Alright, I hope, pray to the machine god, we're back. Right, so where we got to was we were talking about the Starchild, a part of the Emperor's soul that fractured off his good bit as he killed Horus, and how that maybe is being fed as opposed to the Emperor, because, well, it could be, it could not be, we don't really know. I think that's pretty much where we got to. Go on. You took a sharp... Yeah, you were about to say something. You took a sharp intake of breath and I cut you off.
It's alright.
So, yeah.
And obviously, with the growth of the Imperial cult, that really grew in the few thousand years after his death, especially with the rise of the ecclesiarchy, becoming a major power on Terra, turning the Imperial Creed into an official galactic-wide religion.
Yeah, and it's everybody...
I mean, it's even at the point where even humans living in Tau space under the greater good still worship the Emperor as a god, because the Tau allow freedom of religion, surprisingly enough.
Oh, I didn't know. I actually play Tau, and I missed that little piece of lore. I missed that one.
Yeah.
News to me.
They still allow the Guva to worship the Emperor.
Gevesa.
Gevesa, sorry. Because you got the Gula.
Gela is a human soldier. Gevesa is human friend, literally.
Oh right, okay. So I'm still a bit rusty on my Tau.
Don't worry, I'll fill the holes on Tau. I'll fill the holes on Tau. Right, so we talked about the Starchild and the Warp Reflection. I asked you to put your stall out, and now I'm going to put mine out. In my opinion, the Emperor is, in some form or another, a Chaos God. I'm not going to say to what power level, because if you follow the Legion of the Damned and the Living Saints, there's not many of them, implying he's not a very powerful one, but he's holding the Chaos Gods at bay. His armies are holding the Chaos Gods at bay, so he's got to be pretty powerful. So he's somewhere along the spectrum of Chaos God power, but I do believe he is one. That's my opinion.
Well, let's not forget as well, as far as the Emperor as a god has been going, he's only been growing for, at most, around 10,000 years.
Yeah.
At the most so far. When you compare that to the other gods of chaos, Khorne was birthed during the Middle Ages.
So that's going to be...
So basically Khorne's at least, a good 40,000 years older.
Yeah, he's at nearly 40,000.
Nurgle's even older than Khorne. Slash, being the youngest one,
is still...
It was actually Slash's birth that actually, ended all the warp storms, which allowed mankind to actually travel out for the great...
So Slanesh is between 10 and 15, then.
Yeah. So the Emperor is obviously is younger than Slanesh. That much is certain.
Yes.
So obviously, the Emperor himself will not have that many extensions to create demons in the same level as the other Chaos Gods, just simply because he's not going to be as powerful.
Yes.
But at the same time, you could argue because Terra has an actual warp tear within it,
which it does,
due to Magnus the Red breaking the Imperial webway.
Not his fault. Tzeentch's fault.
It's Tzeentch's fault, yeah, but Magnus still broke it.
I will defend Magnus until I'm dead.
It wasn't his fault, but he still did it.
Yeah, alright. Alright.
So the Emperor obviously while he's still maintained on the throne, he's pretty much using the majority of his power to make sure that warp tear doesn't envelop the planet and the solar system and basically create another Eye of Terror.
Yeah, he's keeping it at an acceptable level for the Adeptus Custodes to handle it.
Yeah. But potentially he could also be using some of his demons to try and fight them back to help, keep the create of humanity from being overwhelmed. Yeah,
because actually that's a good point. Yeah, because we don't obviously see inside the warp tear where the custodians are. Perhaps there's a huge horde of Legion there, and they get called away as and when they're needed.
Precisely. I mean, the only thing we do know that's fighting in there are the custodians.
Yes.
And potentially the Sisters of Silence as well.
Yep. I'm with you on that.
Another thing helping towards the Starchild Theory is, have you ever read the book Xenology?
I have not, I'm afraid. It's that... it sounds like an Inquisitor book.
It was an old book by Black Library that's no longer published. But it had all these things like Xenos dissections and stuff like that in it.
Oh, right.
And there was a bit in the end, there was an Eldar tablet, history of 50,000. He had some figures at the bottom representing the old ones, and then you had a little bit above that where basically all the different races you had, like Orc, Eldar, Kroot, etc., all being created.
Yeah.
Then above there, you have a layer which is basically just a Necron skull. So which is basically referencing, in total, the old ones created the races to fight the Necron Tier and the Catan.
Yep.
Then there's three figures. One of them's crossed out, basically just vandalised, which is a bloody-handed figure representing Cain.
Yep, Cain.
One's a figure with a laughing and crying face.
That will
representing the laughing god.
Oh, what's his name now?
Chigorak.
Thank you.
The third one you can't quite make out, but it's keeping with the Eldar theme. It's more likely going to be Isha, who's alive in Nurgle's garden.
That would have a crying reference to it. The Tears of Isha, probably.
More than likely. And there's a bit above that. There's a bit of paper that has a scribble on it because the rest of the tablet was destroyed.
Yeah.
But the last bit was a image of a child enveloped in starlight.
Starchild.
Yeah.
That's a bit too on the nose.
So it could also be a reference to the gestation of the new Eldar god, Enid, the god of the dead.
Yeah.
But there's a little tiny bit at the top of the tablet. You see these little waves, which can be interpreted now too as it could be flames, or it could be like wings, like feathers.
Okay.
And what's the symbol of the Imperium?
The Aquila.
Two-headed eagle.
I will have to go and look this up, and if I've got it, folks, I'll be putting an image of this tablet on the screen so you can have a look at it for yourself.
So it looks like according to that tablet, it's either referencing that after the old ones created all the races, they would have the war in heaven against the Catan, and only 3 of these gods would survive, being Isha,
Cain
and Chigorak.
Yep.
After some other events. And in the future, there will be something born in starlight.
Yeah, I'm following
the
that.
god of the dead or
the
Starchild, the emperor as a god.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I follow you. Okay. That's very, very interesting. Please tell me that the silence is not a problem.
No, silence is not a problem.
Oh, thank goodness. Sorry, I just heard silence and I panicked. Alright, so... Yeah.
It's usually unstable call. We have to pray to the machine god.
Yeah, the Omnissiah will be with me on this one, I hope. Right, so that pretty much sums up Starchild in the warp and everything else. Now, one of the, I'm going to call this one almost fan theories, revolves around Malal. Which, by the way, Malal does exist, it's just they can't use his name anymore. It was retconned because of copyright, if you do the reading. And the theory goes that Malal basically is the middle finger to everybody Chaos God. Like, he just interferes with everything. And it would make sense that a Chaos God that interferes with the other Chaos Gods would kind of play the role of the Emperor, as near as makes no difference. If the Emperor himself wasn't a god, then it would take form as Malal. Or Malice, or whatever he's known as these days.
Again, it's a very interesting fan theory. Because Malal essentially is the Chaos God of Chaos.
Yep.
He's basically like, I'm going to go around and kick everyone in the nuts. That's basically Malal in a nutshell.
How eloquent, yes.
The problem with Malal, or Malice, whatever you want to call him these days, is we don't have an exact time frame as to when he was created in relation to the other Chaos Gods.
That's true.
We know out of all the major Chaos Gods that Slanesh is the youngest, and Malal is essentially the closest one, being a 5th major Chaos God.
Yeah, and we know Nurgle's the oldest because Nurgle's been around since life itself.
Yeah, and Khorne came around during the Middle Ages of Terra. Tzeentch came shortly after Khorne.
I say Tzeentch could have been any time because Tzeentch is just Tzeentch.
Yeah,
but I suppose
I like to think it was around the 1980s he came about.
I was gonna go back a bit further to when all the political wheedlings began. So we'll go a little bit further in the 80s, but we'll never know.
You never know. We won't know for certain.
No, because it's Tzeentch. So anyway,
now potentially Malal could have come any time between after Tzeentch's birth and after Slanesh's birth. Now, if he comes after Slanesh's birth and after the Emperor's quote-unquote death, then that would help create Malal. But at the same time, due to the fact that the Emperor was preaching the imperial truth during the Great Crusade, basically saying, religion's a bunch of crap,
Throw religion out the window and ironically never question you about it.
Exactly. That in turn, this basically saying like, yeah, there's no gods, yeah, screw the gods. That basically would potentially create a god
Of
that
unbelief.
would be against the other gods.
Yeah, the imperial god of unbelief.
Yes. Even though some people have been telling me Malau is the god of anarchy, not the god of unbelief, that's a different god, but I think Malau is still suitable for this purpose of calling him a god of unbelief, being a chaos god that was born
to undo the chaos gods.
Destroy the chaos gods, essentially.
Yeah, I can follow that.
So there is a potential link between Malal and the Emperor, but not necessarily with them being the same individual.
Actually, this is just me running a little bit wild. I could just imagine, like, when the Emperor ascended on the Golden Throne, Malal just walks up to his soul stone and says, "Oh, hi, yeah, I came along because of you, and I'm here to stuff everything up for everybody. Fancy tagging along?" And he just literally yoinked the Emperor's soul and just said, "Thank you, mine," and confused it with himself. I was like, right, let's go and mess some stuff up.
I just got this image in my head of Malal going up to the Emperor and going, "Daddy?"
Oh, I could imagine him doing that as well.
So, Daddy, they said I'm not canon. He's like, "Don't worry, son, have some hot chocolate."
Yeah, you can just go hide in the Retconian until it's time for you to come and fix things.
Go play with the squats.
Yeah, the Hrud will be along shortly. Yeah, the Hrud did get wiped out, didn't they? Bugs.
No, the Hrud are still around.
Oh, it was the squats that got squatted by the bugs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I got my law wrong.
Well, even though the squats themselves aren't actually extinct, that from around 6th edition rulebook actually still mentions them as a species of abhuman. So squats still exist. They've actually just been the survivors have been fully integrated into the Imperium as an abhuman species.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's just the homeworlds that don't exist no more.
Ah, right, I'm with you now. So then, let's move on to probably the most convincing piece of evidence, and you've covered this, I've covered this. It's the Legion and the Living Saints, and their potential demonic nature. Because that's the conclusion I reached when I did my Legion theory. It's a theory you put forward in your Legion theory. I don't think it was the one that you settled on. Uh-oh.
No, because there's quite a few potential possibilities with the Legion, just because it's so, for lack of a better term, so convoluted.
Yep, I can follow that.
Because you got the whole Firehawk theory, which involves time travel. And
yep.
I don't want to say this now in regards to the whole time travel argument people have been putting across. Yes, the warp does have an effect on time, and does distort time. That's why the traitor Marines who are still within the warp are the same ones from the Horus Heresy still alive, is because time flows differently in the warp.
See Abaddon.
But all confirmed canon known examples of time manipulation have been to go forward.
Actually, I have one. In the 4th edition Orc Codex, there's a reference to something called the Lost War, where a war boss went off onto a war and ended up going back in time, coming back to where he started just before he set off. He went backwards a bit, shot his doppelganger so he could have a spare of his favourite gun, and the war basically stopped dead in its tracks.
I must admit, I did not know. Okay.
It was like literally it was a 5-line box in notable wars in the 4th edition Orc Codex, but that wasn't deliberate time manipulation. That was just random orky shenanigans causing reverse time travel.
And fair enough. In regards to orcs as well, when orcs believe enough things can happen, it does happen. So maybe enough orcs believe it's like, we're going backwards in time. I think we are, lads. Hey, we're back where we started.
Backwards in time, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. So, in terms of manipulating the strings of the warp to make time travel possible, there's no confirmed evidence going backwards anyway.
Not manipulating it deliberately, no. For all we know, the warp is that the warp is the warp. It does it whenever it feels like it, essentially. It can just go, oh no, you're going to stay in here for about 10,000 years, or, you know what, you're going to go out the warp. You're going to be 100 million light years away in about 5 seconds. There you go.
Yeah.
It just does what it wants to do.
And that for me was what debunks the Firehawk theory. Now you settled on the ghost theory, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's correct. Because while there was confirmed Firehawks in the Legion of the Damned, that Adeptus Mechanicus recovered a Legionnaire's armour and had the same serial numbers as what the Firehawks had.
Yep.
There's also confirmed reports of
An Ultramarine.
Ultramarines in the Legion of the Damned, which was in the novel The Chapter's Due. Captain Nero Ventress of the 4th Company encountered the Legion when they were in the middle of a fight with the Iron Warriors.
Yes.
And the symbols on this Legionnaire's armour matched an Ultramarine from the Great Crusade called Remus Ventanus.
Yes, I remember it being a captain. I couldn't remember quite from when.
So it seems like potentially Legion of Doubt, it could be a combination of a demon theory and kind of like not so much demon prince, but like kind of like mini demon prince. Like it's like, you've died, you've done your duty. I'm going to make you into a demon, into basically fighting the Legion of the Damned for eternity.
Yeah. I think that it just depends on, and this is the reason I settled on the demon theory was the Inquisition, because with demons, if the Inquisition got wind of demons fighting for the Imperium, they would command all the Imperial forces who encountered the Legion to turn on them instantly. And so it would make sense for the Legion to keep their distance from freaking everybody, particularly the Inquisition, not communicate, just to make sure nobody caught wind of their nature. Because if you're spiritual, yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's not kill on sight. Whereas with demons, it's kill on sight. So it might mean why they stayed away is because of their demonic nature. That was why I settled that way. It seemed a bit neater.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that when the Legion of the Damned appear, they also appear, in a flash of like light and flame, which is basically just them emerging from the warp.
Yeah, like almost teleporting.
Yeah.
Whereas if they were ghosts, they might like physically, like kind of Harry Potter style, just apparate into existence rather than teleport.
Exactly. And plus, once the battle's done, they just disappear. They just vanish.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a confirmed like flash of light teleport out, or whether it's like actually, do demons warp out or they fade out?
I think they fade out. It depends on. I think minor demons fade out, and the larger ones, like greater demons, will explode in a flash of light.
Okay, that makes sense then. Because actually, that actually means that we could actually use the Living Saints theory as well, because the Legion fade out because they're the lesser versions. I've never seen a Living Saint killed, so I wouldn't know if it fades or blinds out.
In the the Dawn of War games, where you have Living Saints as hero units, when they die, there's a huge flash of light when they basically just evaporate.
Kind of demon style.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why I think Living Saints are demons as well, because every Living Saint that's been encountered, be it in the games, in the novels, always follow a set pattern. They have the golden armor, the flaming sword, the angel wings.
They may be slight variations on a theme, but there's always the same theme.
Yeah. Demon princes do not have that same fixed pattern. It's only the lesser and greater demons that follow the same design. Because
they're manifestations of the god, whereas the demon princes are mortal beings empowered by one chaos god or another. They may have aspects of the greater demon if they're empowered by a certain god, but they, at the end of the day, still have mortal elements to them.
Yeah. I mean, the best example of this, we'll compare Demon Princes compare Fulgrim to Doom Rider. Fulgrim is a four-armed, bat-winged snake man, and Doom Rider is essentially Ghost Rider. he's got his head's on fire, he's riding a demonic bike, and he's doing a whole bunch of cocaine.
Yeah, compare that to a Keeper of Secrets.
Which is essentially huge horn-haired four-arms with crab claws.
Yeah, it's kind of Fulgrim-y, but...
always has axes, maybe a double-handed axe or a single-handed axe, so it's always got an axe.
Mm-hmm. And the Demon Prince of Khorne may not. Compared to a Bloodthirster. So I think that's where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think the Living Saints particularly, but we can also use the Legion to point the idea of Imperial demons. It's not concrete because we haven't got actual physical analysis of their nature because, well, that's the point. But it certainly gives weight to that theory.
Yeah.
But I think we have to be fair. We've rambled for 25 minutes trying to hype the Emperor up into chaos godliness and create the ultimate heresy. We should probably try and salvage the situation now. For the good of the Imperium.
Yes.
Right. How can we prove the Emperor's not a Chaos God?
Well, for one thing, the Emperor is still technically alive. Well, I suppose technical term would be undead. His physical body is still being on life support on the Golden Throne.
Yeah, it's atrophied away, but it's still alive.
And that itself means if the Emperor himself is still alive, he can't be in a state of undeath and be a supernatural god at the same time. Part of him can be, it's like his psychic essence potentially can be, but overall he can't be.
Yeah,
because his soul, at the end of the day, it's still linked to his body.
Yes, which is why the Starchild Theory is probably a little bit stronger than the Emperor himself.
Yeah.
The reason I had, and I don't know if this is quite right, but I put a question mark on this on my post-it note, is the Terminus Decree. Now, you've talked about this extensively in a full video, and I've mentioned it in passing a couple of times. For those who don't know or haven't seen any videos we've done on it, the Terminus Decree is a document in the possession of the Grey Knights, and feel free to stop me if I get any of this wrong, is in possession of the Grey Knights on Saturn. Or, no, not Saturn, Titan, sorry, Saturn's a glass cloud. And it's got a seal that is matched in only one place, and that's on the Golden Throne, implying that the decree is in some way linked to the Golden Throne. We don't know what it does. Some say it's a failsafe to shut the thing off. Some say it's maybe a reboot. We don't really know what it does. But the fact that it exists implies that the humans still have control over the Emperor in some way, which if you're a god, you don't. Gods control their people, not people controlling their gods. This is not the Necrons.
Exactly. And bear in mind where the Terminus Decree is kept as well. It's kept in the tomb of Malcador the Sigillite, who is the Emperor's closest confidant and second in command of the entire Imperium.
Yes, it is.
So, even if the Emperor himself would not have known about this, this would have been a plan authorised by Malcador himself, realising, you know what, this guy could potentially,
be a Chaos God.
Get a little bit out of hand. We need something just in case.
Yeah.
Because Malcador was always planning ahead, even with things the Emperor himself would not necessarily know about. I mean, it was Malcador who created the forerunners of the Inquisition.
That was
the Inquisition still used his rune as their symbol, the stylized eye.
Yeah, I mean, the Grey Knights were on the Emperor's command, but I don't know if the Inquisition was.
The Inquisition say they're under the Emperor. They're the Emperor's Inquisition, but as far as the Horus Heresy stories are going at the moment, they answer directly to Malcador.
Not Emps, because he was too busy.
No. And it was a thing that Nathaniel Garrow made a turn and said, I'll do what you say, providing you don't betray the Emperor. If you betray the Emperor, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Malcador just smiled at him.
Oh, Malcador. But yeah, I'm planning to do a full lore read on Malcador. I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning to do some proper research for him because he does sound like a pretty big badass. But that brings us back to the decree. The fact that, assuming it's Malcador's invention or Malcador's idea as a failsafe for the Golden Throne, sort of suggests we can still kill the Emperor if we want to. Which, if he had ascended... I mean, obviously this was created with the intention of the Emperor being in his full psychic might, not crippled and atrophying on the Golden Throne, but the fact that they could kill him off while he was on the Golden Throne and doing whatever the Emperor was going to do implies that even if the Emperor could ascend to godhood, if it's in any way tied to his body, then the Imperium can kill him.
Yeah.
And killing a god, as the elves have proved in Age of Sigmar, you don't really do that.
No. Well, there was the Silver Knight who wandered the realm of chaos who decided to try and kill Slanesh and failed miserably.
Oh, is that for Atlas's attempt at Khaldor Drago?
That's who I hypothesised being Khaldor Drago, just due to all the similarities, and because, let's be honest, Matt Ward kind of ruined the Grey Knights, and this is my way of redeeming Matt Ward by damning him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But because in the Chaos Demon's Codex, it actually states a story about this one Space Marine in Selrama, wanders the realm of chaos, walks through Slanesh's realm, it resists temptation of all kinds, walks right into the throne of Slanesh itself, walks right to Slanesh, pulls out a sword, goes to hit her, and then goes, "How can I serve you?" And don't forget, as well, things like Nemesis, the Titan sword that Khaldor Drago owns.
Yeah.
It said that it can actually not just banish; it can actually kill demons.
which
Not just banish, kill them.
and that's
Since demons themselves are extensions of a god,
if it can kill the extension of a god, what's to stop it killing the god itself?
or at the very least just grievously wounding it. By
Correct.
maybe banishing the god from being able to do anything for like a few centuries, maybe.
Hit the god mode sleep button.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't fully got behind that one. I didn't really read the Grey Knight's lore when I reviewed their codex. I probably should have done now, thinking about it. But it just seems that the Imperium basically made countermeasures without... Well, Malcador made countermeasures to dealing with either the Chaos Gods or maybe even the Emperor. But what this sort of leads to is, like, it still doesn't prove... If anything, that adds more weight to the Emperor actually being possibly won, because if they needed something like the Terminus Decree and the Titan Sword to kill a Chaos God or kill the Emperor, with the power to kill a Chaos God as the Titan Sword supposedly may have, it stands to reason then that the Imperium was prepared for this eventuality.
It might not necessarily be to the fact that the Emperor himself was becoming God. It's just the fact that the Emperor, even if he wasn't a god, he was still the most powerful human being ever to exist. He was essentially Superman, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, he was Superman with magic powers.
Yeah, he was the most powerful psyker in human history. The only two human psykers who rivaled him in power,
Malcador and Magnus,
were Malcador and Magnus.
Yeah.
That was it. And even then, it was a distant second and third. I mean, when Malcador was on the Golden Throne during
it fried him in like an hour and a half.
He basically got fried.
Yeah, we never saw... I think that... Was the Golden Throne designed for Magnus, though?
The Golden Throne was designed for Magnus the Red, yes.
So it stands to reason then that Magnus is close. So Malcador is a comfortable third, but if Magnus is able...
It's not necessarily that. Don't forget, Malcador was a very old, frail man, physically.
True.
So it might just simply be he did not have the physical strength to cope with all that energy. Mentally, he could throw things around with his mind. I mean, when Lorgar, for lack of a better term, bitch-slapped him and knocked him to the ground, knocking his staff out of his hand, Malcador just stood up, just opened up his hand, and his stuff went flying back to his hand.
Perfect. Yeah, and to be fair, Guilliman gave Lorgar what for that.
Yeah.
The one time I actually had any respect for Guilliman. Never mind. So yeah.
In fact, the latest books have been making Guilliman look somewhat actually, respectable. He's not just Mary Sue Matt Ward's spiritual liege anymore.
Which is probably for the best, because I'm trying to find a reason not to call them the Smurfs and everything, so it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Right. How do we prove the Emperor's not a Chaos God without talking about the possibility of him being a Chaos God? Good grief, this is actually more difficult than it looks.
I think the easiest way to try and prove if the Emperor's not a Chaos God, what you can do, really, is kill him and see if a new god's born.
That's very true. And because this links back to the decree, doesn't it? Because some say the decree will shut the Golden Throne off and kill the Emperor, but then the theory also goes the Emperor is a perpetual. Which,
yes.
If you're a perpetual, if he comes back to life, he can't be a god, therefore, because the gods wouldn't be able to be killed to come back in the first place.
True. But it also depends if he hadn't lost his perpetual ability, because Vulcan was a perpetual until he was stabbed with the Anathame dagger, which pretty much killed him for good until he was resurrected. But as far as we know, he's lost his ability to just come back from the dead. He's now immortal.
Oh.
I mean, he's still a Primarch, but he's immortal once again.
That's news, because I remember I did a theory a while ago about the Primarchs, and I didn't realise Vulcan had lost his perpetuality.
It was in what was the book? It was at the end of Unremembered Empire.
Oh, the one with Sanguinius and Guilliman founding Imperium Secundus.
Yeah, it was at the bit where John Grammaticus and his friend were being chased by Comrade Kurz, and then Vulcan just comes out, brandishing, his big hammer and just punches Kurz in the face. And because Vulcan had been tortured and basically brutalised and basically killed over and over and over again by Kurz, because Kurz is just, sadistic git.
He's Batman.
And the constant resurrections basically took a toll on Vulcan's mind initially, when he landed on Macragge, because he literally just teleported out of Kurz's ship into the planet's atmosphere, just landed in a crater, making a bloody pulp of himself, then came back to life.
Deadpool style.
He went insane. He could not talk. He just screamed and tried to beat things up. And even when Kurz turned up and tried to kill Gilliman's housemaid, I think it was, Vulcan just came in and just knocked him out of a window while wearing a suit of ultramarine armour that he basically built to fit himself. He just smashed it to fit himself. And his mind was pretty much broken. He just lived to try and kill Kurz.
And I think it was probably Sanguinius that calmed him down. I haven't read Unremembered Empire, so...
Well, he ran off after Kurz. Kurz found John Chromaticus and his friend because he knew that they had the Anathame dagger. He tried to take it from them to try and kill Vulcan. Vulcan beat up Kurz. John Chromaticus managed to stab Vulcan with it.
Not realising.
Vulcan then died. The Salamanders who were on Macragge took his body back to Nocturne, and Vulcan was actually resurrected there, and it's heavily implied that he's no longer a Perpetual because of what happened with the Anathame dagger.
Well, that's interesting, because Horus was stabbed with an Anathame blade on Davin, and he was only saved because of the Chaos Gods, and he wasn't a Perpetual, so the effect it has on a Perpetual, we don't really know.
Exactly. And because if the Emperor himself is a Perpetual, he would have potentially lost that ability, because the Anathame was a divine weapon.
Yeah.
And since Horus was imbued with the powers of the 4 Chaos Gods...
It stands to reason that Worldbreaker was an Anathame weapon as well?
Potentially.
Which would explain why, when the Emperor got absolutely pulverised by it, he didn't just let him... Even if Dawn and everyone managed to save him, it would have made sense, because I believe the Emperor issued a couple of commands before he died. Yes. Before he was interred. You would have stood to reason to say to Dawn, I can come back from this, just let me die and let nature take its course, I'll be back. But obviously he must have known it's an Anathame, he won't come back. So they needed the Golden Throne to keep him alive.
Plus there's also the Guardsman Alanius Pius, who in the newer material is confirmed to be a Perpetual, but is still killed for good at the hands of Horus.
Implying again, Anathame.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What we would have to check, though, to validate or invalidate the Chaos God business, is the effect the Anathame has on demons, and thus the gods, kind of like Nemesis weapons.
I think that was... what book was it? There was one that featured the Knights Errant, the Proto-Grey Knights.
Yeah.
And I think they infiltrated the Vengeful Spirit.
Horus's battle
Horus's flagship. And they encounter, if you remember the character of Torgadon.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the, was he one of the Mornival? Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. He was brought back, but he was actually a demon version of him called Tormageddon.
Oh, that's a shocking pun. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, and I'm probably wrong here, I need to double check this, but if I recall, they still had some of the shattered blades of the Anathame that Lorgar had.
For no reason.
On the ship, and if I recall correctly, I think Loken stabbed Tormageddon with one of these and killed him.
Loken? Loken was virus bombed. Twice.
You've not been keeping up, he survived.
Twice? I thought Abaddon just left him buried, and as they virus bombed it a second time, he died. I didn't read past Galaxy in Flames, unfortunately. I never got round to buying the rest of them.
Well, Nathaniel Garrow of the Death Guard found him and recruited him into the Knights Errant, which is the Proto-Grey Knights, essentially.
Oh, right. I should have done a lot more reading.
He went a bit mad.
No surprises there.
But he got better.
So, as far as you can remember, Loken stabbed Demon Torgadon, and it killed him outright?
If I recall correctly, I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but if I recall correctly, yes, that's what happened.
Okay, well, somebody in the comments, I'm sure, will have read it and will be able to fill us in on that, and we'll...
In fact, it's been a couple of years since I've read that, about a year or so since I've read that book, so...
It's fine, we'll all make mistakes, but if it's true, if you remember correctly, then it proves that the Anathame would be able to kill a demon and thus pose a threat to a god. If we've got it wrong, then perhaps we've just flushed that theory down the toilet, but never mind.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else? I think we sort of debunked the whole lack of numbers for the Legion and the Living Saints by the whole custodies under the palace thing. I guess the only other thing that I would say for the Emperor not being a very powerful Chaos God, whether he is one or not, is you don't see many miracles. Like, when the gods have the favour, when a mortal has the favour of the gods, they are rewarded with demonhood, spawnhood, mutation, power, whatever. You don't see that amongst the Imperials. I think the closest we ever got was like the power Macarius had, but that was because he was Alexander the Great with plot armor, nothing else.
Yeah.
So, if there's no Imperial miracles...
Well, you said there's no Imperial miracles, but technically, I suppose you could say how, Commissar Yarrick is always able to survive. You guys, how he's had his arm chopped off, he gets beaten up by Ghazghkull Thraka.
Yeah, he took
an
adamantium skull to the face.
Bear in mind, this is an old man in his 60s.
Yeah, he took an adamantium headbutt to the face and survived it.
Yeah. And bear in mind, if you have your arm cut off, at the elbow, at that age, you're probably going to die from the shock. And he just got up, sliced the knocked over the chainsaw,
and took the power claw.
Once the fight was over, he was like, right, I'm going to pass out now. See you later.
And he just had the power claw hardwired into him.
Yeah. I still don't know how it works, because orc technology doesn't work that way. But anyway,
no, but...
and by that way, I mean it just doesn't work the same way technology should work.
It doesn't work unless the orcs tell it to.
Exactly. And there's... all the constant hinting that, that Gilliman, even though he's had his throat slit and he's poisoned, and as soon as he comes out of stasis, he will die. There's all this hinting saying, oh, he's actually healing in the stasis. It's like, that's not how stasis works, but if he is healing, then that will be some kind of miracle.
Yeah.
It would, let's be honest.
It would be a surprise, definitely. I'm going to go completely off the topic here. Why is Johnson's alarm clock not gone off yet? Can I ask, do you know?
He asked for 5 more minutes.
Fair enough. He just hit the snooze button, fair dues.
Well, officially it's because he will come when the Imperium needs him most. Fun fact as well, Johnson is literally the only Loyalist Primarch confirmed to be alive.
Yeah, he's the only one that we can actually trace a location on anyway. Yeah, that's true.
Because obviously, Russ, Khan, Korax are all on the Eye of Terror.
Yep.
For some reason.
Vulcan, heck knows. Khan, I think, got lost in the webway.
Yeah, he went fighting for some Dark Eldar.
Mistake.
Korax just went,
AWOL.
on an emo trip.
Russ went AWOL.
Yeah. Looking for some lemons.
Yeah, supposedly Tree of Life, whatever. We'll see. Yeah. Dawn's dead.
Well, his fate is officially unknown. He's rumoured to be dead because all they found was his hand.
Yeah, okay. Dawn is probably dead. I'll put it another way.
Dawn's probably dead, but he could be hiding in the Centurion suit in the Imperial throne room.
Did you just come off a call with Alpha Booster before you started this?
I didn't actually know.
The amount of references that you're making is just like, it's dime a dozen.
No, I've just been talking to him a lot these last few days. I didn't actually talk to him just now.
Yeah, fair enough. Just easy to make a few. That's fine. Never mind.
And plus, there's also the theory I came up with how Dawn essentially faked his own death because he was so ashamed of what happened
with the
Emperor. His failings. He went back to basically look after the Emperor and basically take over as the Captain General of the Custodes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because remember, no one's allowed on the Imperial throne room but the companions. Who are the Captain General of the Custodes.
Yeah, who, if you believe first edition canon, have all gone a little bit psycho, but never mind.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I know some people say, like, oh, yeah, but it's going to be easy to spot someone 12 foot as opposed to a bunch of Custodes who are like, 8, 9 foot. It's like, yes, but at the same time, Dawn is wearing golden armour anyway.
He'd blend in a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think I just got very sidetracked there with Lionel Johnson. Right. I'm out of arguments. I rest my case.
Yeah, so it's looking like the Emperor, if he's not a Chaos God, he is potentially looking at ascending fully fledged to godhood.
I agree with that.
Maybe not a god of chaos, but a god of potential order.
Well, actually, yeah, that's
and the reason why he's not blessing followers with mutation is, bear in mind that mutation itself is very symbolic of chaos. Chaos itself is very random, it's uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Which, again, mutation is very symbolic of. If he's a god of order,
it would be divine power. Yeah, we want
the closest thing that any follower has to mutation has been wings. That's about it.
Yeah, and you've got the Black Dragon Space Marines as well with their like Wolverine-style claws.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's because actually that's a fantasy thing. There used to be gods of order in fantasy, but I think they got wiped out long ago, I believe.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
But going back to fantasy, going back to how the argument of how gods are created, best example would be the Lizardman god Sotek.
Yeah, you explained this before the call goal.
Yeah, because when Skaven clan Pestilence entered the Lizardman realm of Lustria, they unleashed all these plagues. It was the Lizardman skinks who were all dying. They basically started praying to a new god who slowly grew in power until he was born. It took the form of a giant serpent to basically force the Skaven out, basically taking the form of the snake, which would devour the rat.
Yep.
And during the end times, apparently that happened because all Skaven have an instinctual fear of lizardmen, apparently, now.
Although the Horn Rat is now fourth in the Pantheon as opposed to Slanesh, so it didn't quite
That's
work.
because Slanesh is basically got his,
he got himself
by
kidnapped.
High Elves.
Yeah, Tyrion came along and kidnapped him. But it's sort of like, if Sotek had managed to screw the Horn Rat that hard, I don't think the Chaos Gods would have said, welcome aboard to the Big Four somehow.
But at the same time, all the other gods allied with Sigmar. All the elven gods, the orc gods,
For a
the
time.
Gash, all allied with Sigmar, and
Yeah.
literally, the Hornrat was literally the only one left. It's
And
like, well, we need a fourth one. You're the only one left. Do you want the job? And it's like, okay.
Sure. Sure, just
And he went up to,
just don't let me fight the new space demons.
That's such an image of the Hornrat going up to Nurgle. It's like, Daddy, I'm a god now. It's like, go away, I hate you. I'm a Slanesh.
Brilliant. Yeah, so the Emperor then is a god of some description, whether chaos or order is unclear. That then raises the question, if the Emperor is on his way to godhood, does the Starchild exist in parallel or in place?
No, I'd like to say it's in parallel, because if the Starchild is a piece of the Emperor's soul, as hypothesized, once the Emperor's physical body dies and the rest of his soul is free of that corporeal form,
Yep.
it's able to merge with the Starchild and essentially become whole.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, it'll become a second Imperial God, or we eventually become a Pantheon.
Yes, so the way I look at it is that at the moment we have, let's call him the God of Order, and then we have Starchild / Enaid, which is just sort of sat there, either waiting to merge with the original form, or waiting for enough power from the Eldar, from the deaths of the Eldar, to come in and give the Chaos Gods what for, with or without the original part.
Pretty much.
And then Malal's just there if he is or not, doesn't matter.
Sitting there drinking hot chocolate with the squats.
Yes.
Who apparently are getting new models.
Oh, if they do, I would love that. Yes.
But that's not been confirmed if it's for 40k or for the upcoming reboot of Adeptus Titanicus.
Or it could even be, it could just be that people have got the new dwarf models mixed up, I don't know.
True, but the Age of Sigmar dwarf models, they're all Slayers, let's be honest.
For the moment, yes, but the Dispossessed and Duardin are due a redo eventually, same with all the elves. So, we'll never know. Oh, we will know.
It will just take a long time.
That's very true. Right.
Yes.
So I think, TLDR, summing it all up, the Emperor is probably a god of some description. He may be in two bits, he may be representing two different factions, we don't really know, but there's something there nonetheless, whether he intended it or not.
Correct.
Very well. And on that, I want to say on that bombshell, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It is time to end. I just wanted to do that because I've never had a chance to make that quote before. So, thank you very much for watching the video. If you've stuck through it, then you have the patience of something I can't even comprehend. Thank you very much, Remleiz, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. It's been really good to get some lore insight from you because I've learned a lot just by doing this video.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
And all the people at home, if you haven't, go subscribe to 40k Theories. You really, really should. It's a fantastic channel. It's really worth your time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed it. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. And until the next time, we will see you all again. Bye for now.